Okay, so in this lesson we're going to be looking at what's called the mod function, and we're actually going to look at two functions, but the mod function is the one that I want you to retain knowledge of at this point. So what is a function? Well, let's do some recapping. You can see that I've done a new sheet called mod function. I've resized the columns and rows to 50 pixels wide by 50 pixels high, and then I've used the border tool to put a series of boxes in. I've put the equal sign, remember, quote, then equals. Same thing will happen with some of these symbols. You might notice I've used our traditional division sign, and our multiplication sign is actually a multiplication sign. How have I achieved that? Well, if I click over here, I can then go to insert, and right over the side here with the Greek symbol there, I've got a symbol list. And if I simply look along the bottom, I've got multiplication and division, but these are under recently used symbols, so you can see quite a few of the symbols that I've used recently. If you can't see it in the recently used, then simply scroll through the list that is here. Now again, there's a divide there. If the symbol you want isn't present, then, and you can see I'm scrolling through them, then what's happening is I'm slowly going through. These are all the different font faces, and I've got a list of different categories. We started at basic Latin at the top, and you scroll down. There's the addition sign, there's a subtraction sign, there's the original division sign that we're not using on this occasion. And as I say, you can scan through for what you're looking for. There's the multiplication sign and there's the division sign. But if the sign you're looking for isn't there, you can always either jump further down to the list, and there's lots of them all there, or you can use a font face that you know contains that. But all I've done is use the times and the division sign there, use the standard keyboard plus and minus, copied, so I took that, and on my keyboard I held down the control key and tapped C, but equally you could right click and choose copy off the context menu, and then go down to there and either use the control V to paste, or right click and choose paste, which will be available. Just to show you that it will be available, copy down to there, right click, paste. I do have a number of options, that simply paste it as is, and that's perfectly fine. I've got the dancing ants going around, that's showing me that's still selected. In Excel, to stop that, simply press the escape key top left of your keyboard. So I've got multiply, divide, add, subtract. A divide again seems a bit weird, but let's start at the top here. Clearly what I want to do is multiply this with this, so I'm simply going to start off the formula equals this star that, and press enter. This is nothing more than a division, so equals again this divided by using the divide key on the keyboard, that, and press enter. Now it's going to complain because I've got nothing in this box. Just to solve that, I'm going to put a 1 in there, and that lets me bring this back. I'm doing 1 divided by 0, 0 divided by 1. If you're not too sure why, you can't divide anything with 0. It doesn't make sense, so it doesn't work. Here I'm going to do equals that plus that, and hopefully we're now used to the idea that the equal sign tells the computer you're going to do something, that minus that, and that we're used to the idea that the result appears in the cell and the formula can be seen up in the formula bar there. So that's really handy. This looks like it's going to be a division, but there's this R left over. So first of all, let's put some values in here. Let's do 3 times 4, and we get our 12. Let's get our 9 divided by 3, and we get 3. Let's now put in, let's say, 6 plus 2, and in here we're going to do 6 minus 2, just to see what those are. Here I want to have a look at this calculation again, but I'm not interested in this part here. Let me try and show you what I don't want to have happen. If I put 2 in there, then I get a fractional response, 4.5. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to alter the calculation. So what I'm going to do is something called an integer division. What that means is I'm going to take the 9 and the 3, as we've got above, and I want to divide it, but I want to divide it in such a way that the only thing this box returns is how many times that number goes into there, ignoring any fractional part. Now, obviously 3 goes into 9 nice and cleanly. It goes into 9 3 times. So whatever I'm going to do is going to give me 3, but that's fine. So I'm going to start this off with the equal sign. And now I'm going to not just use mathematics, but a built-in function inside Excel. And Excel's got quite a few of these. What I'm going to write is quotient. It's just there, the third one down, quotient. And double click and that offers it to me. I'm going to do the numerator, that's the number at the top, which is the 9, comma, the number at the bottom, the denominator there. I'm then going to close the brackets. Now I haven't got to do any mathematics as such. All I'm doing is I want the quotient of 9 divided by 3. I'm going to press enter and I get 3. But obviously I got 3 before. But let's remember, when I put 2 in, I got 4.5. So what if I put 2 in here? I just get 4. That's all I get. What if I put 4 in there? I get 2. Though if I check with 4 in here, I can see the 4 gives me 2.3. I just get the 2 part. So the quotient returns that part. That's not the function. Now, just to highlight this, this is still a formula, but this is a function. It's a function of Excel because it does something. It takes inputs and produces an output for us. It needs to know something, and then it can do whatever we want based upon that. And if we look at the formula bar here, we've got a number. If I click here, here's a whole number of functions there. I've also got a little tool here called insert function, and actually it's recognized I'm using the quotient function and it's giving me that with a little bit of information. Let's go to this cell here. I could then again click on insert function. Now it doesn't know what I want. Most you recently used functions are there. I could see all functions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this down arrow and I'm just going to hold it. And while I'm holding it, you can see the number of functions that are built into Excel that are just constantly scrolling by. We're only up to the G's and now the H's, and there's lots of them. You can tell there's loads of them. And the really cool thing is, once you get competent and confident in using Excel, you can introduce your own functions without concern. So that's a really nice thing to be able to do. But we're not going to do that. I don't need to use the insert there. I'm going to instead just type equals. Then I'm going to start with what I'm looking for. I'm going to press the M key, and you can see that all the functions that begin with M are now visible in this list. Now the one we're going to use is this one called mod, but I could just keep typing. And now we can see it's being reduced even further. So I'm going to press the D to finish it off, and then open brackets. Every function has the name of the function, in this case MOD, in the other one quotient, followed by an open bracket. That's a rule you know. Every function is its name, open brackets. Then we're looking for the number we're interested in this case our 9. Comma separates, and that's what this help point is giving us. There's a comma. You can see number is bold. As soon as I press comma, the divisor becomes bold. That's telling me now that's what you're putting in. And there's a little bit of help if I want it. But the divisor is that number there. And I'm going to close the brackets off. And now press enter. Now what I've got is I've got the result 1. Let's put this back to 3. And I've got 0. 9 divided by 3 is 3, remainder 0. This is old school maths. This is primary maths. This is when you were learning about division. You didn't understand division. So you weren't doing fractions. You weren't doing decimals. You didn't know those. You'd just come off of counting to 10. So what they're doing now is introducing you to the idea of division with the idea of this what's left over. So 2 does not go into 9 neatly. 2 goes into 9 4 times, remainder 1. And if you think about the tiny cubes or whatever you used, or matchsticks that you used at school, and you would have had 9 of them, and you'd have taken 2 out, then 2 out, then 2 out, then 2 out, and you will realise you've got 4 groups of 2 with 1 left over, and you can't do anything with that 1, so it just sits there. I've got 4 groups of 2 with 1 left over, and that's what mod is about. So if I put 4 into there, I find that I've got 2 with 1 left over. What I'm really interested in getting here is when I look at 3. 3 goes into 9 neatly, and it gives me 0. 9 goes into 9 really neatly. Now this is where the numbers I've chosen aren't much use. So let's look at a number like 20. I can see that 2 goes into 20 really neatly with nothing left over. So does 4 go in with nothing left over? What about 5 goes in with really neatly with nothing left over? And 10 goes in neatly with nothing left over. And that's really important. When the number goes in neatly, we're left over with nothing, and that's going to be really important in our next revision exercise, which is coming up next, our revision 3 on the times table square. See you there.